What is going on, everyone? My name is Jared and I am from TechWorks. Today, as you can see probably by the thumbnail and the image that is right before you, we have the Galaxy S9 Plus and a case to go with it. I'm going to take the case to a side. We'll talk about that later. So this is the S9 Plus, the latest and greatest from Team Samsung out there in Korea. This is more of a revision than a big innovation for the S9. It's basically the refined S8, most people are calling it. But even though the outside looks very similar, the insides have, of course, changed with a new model year, with a new technology from Qualcomm, and new screens, new cameras. The camera tech is really cool in this phone. So I'm going to get right through the specs real quick before I go open this guy up. So real quick, these phones came in lilac purple, which is kind of like a rose pink, midnight black, titanium gray, and coral blue. This is the coral blue model, as you can see on the side right there. Coral blue. I tend to like it a lot since the S7 it just has a real nice color on it. Something a little different instead of going for the black. So the S9 Plus has the 6.2-inch diagonal display, AMOLED, of course, Quad HD Super AMOLED. The resolution is 2960 by 1440, and for everyone counting, that is 529 ppi pixels per inch. It does have the bezel-less display like they did last time, and the ppi is actually somewhat less than the S9 because it's the same resolution, just stretched over another 0.4 inches. So that's why you lose out a little bit of ppi. The big deal for the cameras. So on the back of the S9 Plus, we have dual cameras, similar to what the Note 8 did in the summer. But the difference is you have a dual aperture, which is the first of its kind for a smartphone, which is mechanical like an actual DSLR camera, meaning that it's going to change due to the lighting conditions. And this is really the first big jump into a camera that can adapt more to the surroundings rather than being stuck, this camera's going to be really good at low light, but this is going to, you're going to give up a little bit in the other categories. This hopefully is going to make a big difference in low light photography and also give you some really nice pictures in the daylight without having to sacrifice anything. It's a 12 megapixel autofocus. They call it super speed dual pixels. The telephoto camera, the bottom lens, is also 12 megapixels. The top one with the dual aperture is either a f-stop of 1.5 or 2.4. So that's just how much light it is. The lower the number, the bigger and more light gets into the sensor. Coming out of that, you also have super slow-mo, which is this new camera mode that allows you to basically target in the frame what you want to be slow-mo. As soon as the phone notices the difference in what's going on, it's going to automatically do your slow-mo up to, 20 shots per video, approximately 0.2 seconds of recording, and 6 seconds of playback for each shot. It is a very, very slow-mo video for a camera, and that is super. The super slow-mo is 960 frames per second. So that's crazy. All right. You also have 4K recording at 30 or 60 frames a second, which is also really nice. With the cameras now, you are getting AR emoji, which is Samsung's answer to Apple's Animoji. Except this one you can make like a little Bitmoji sort of cartoon character of yourself. On the inside of the phone, things have obviously changed. You have, at least for here in the US, you have the Snapdragon 845, which is 2.8 gigahertz and 1.7 gigahertz for its cores. Or if you're international, you get the Samsung Exynos 9810, which everyone says the Exynos models are faster than the Snapdragon variants. Comes with 64 gigabytes of storage, Android 8.0 right out the rip, and other than that, everything's about the same. You got 6 gigabytes of RAM. You do have now expandable storage up to 400 gigabytes. So if you happen to have a 400 gigabyte SD card, well, you can slide that right in there, and you're looking at 464 gigs of storage, which is just absurd. You do get IP68 water and dust resistance, and it's USB-C with a headphone jack on the bottom. Last but not least, it does have a 3500 milliamp hour battery, which is a slight increase from last year's S8 Plus. Outside of that, more or less, the phone will look the same, besides on the back. First, we got our little booklets and stuff here. SIM eject tool, quick reference guide, all the normal paperwork that you get, and whatever this is, get genuine accessories from the Samsung shop. Big box for not a lot of information. Set that to the side. We have the phone. Obviously, we're going to grab the cloth, set that down. Diving deeper, you have your transfer tool here in case you're coming from a different phone. You have your fast charge, which is surprisingly still on quick charge 2.0. Don't know why they haven't changed that yet, but still quick charge, so it will still do the job. And up here you get your all black accessories, all matching USB-C to USB-A, and your free pair of AKG tuned headphones. And actually these are pretty good. I've used them on the other Samsung phones. Really not bad they're surprisingly great for a pair of headphones you get with the phone, and they're good in terms of normal headphones. So I'm gonna put this stuff back over here, and we're gonna take a quick look at the device. One of the biggest problems people had with the S8s and S8 Pluses were the fingerprint scanner location. And I'm gonna zoom in a bit while I talk about this sort of stuff. So, as you can see, we have the fingerprint sensor underneath the camera now. So that is right where everyone wants it to be, right where it always is supposed to be, to make it convenient for everyone and not just over here to the side being all awkward. You do have your heart rate sensor and your flash underneath the glass panel over here, which is still, that's fine. It's a good spot right there. You probably are going to smudge the camera if you go to use it, but is what it is. You have very little information on the bottom of the phone. You just have your little regulatory marks. S9 Plus, Samsung. On the top, of course, you have your SIM tray. Side, you just have your power button. The bottom, you have your USB-C headphone and speaker grill. And on this side, of course, everyone's favorite Bixby and the volume key. So, I'm gonna be honest, I have already put my information in this device so that I am ready to rock as far as talking about the phone is concerned. Just gonna get all the fingerprints. So of course, with a glass sandwich phone, fingerprint magnets are gonna be aplenty. That is why I do have, sitting just off screen, the Tech 21 Pure Clear case, which we are going to be using as our case here. So I'm gonna put that on as I continue to talk about it so I do not get any smudges. No Bixby, I don't need any of that. Anyway, I do have the phone powered up, so we are going to talk a little bit about the software experience, at least right quick, of what's going on. But basically, it's the same user experience that you know and love from the last time. Your icons look the same. Little things have changed in Android 8.0. Obviously, you have all the nice things about Android 8.0. You have your... Now you finally, Samsung gave in to the... hold down and get your shortcuts like an Android, like the Pixel should have, all of that. So you can click down on your messages, get the create a message bubble, go on the Gmail, go to Gmail, get your compose your different email accounts, so on and so forth. So that's a nice feature. Last time they had the push, but it didn't bring up any of the shortcuts or widgets or things of that nature. Other than that, the experience running on the running on the new Snapdragon 845 is really fast. Doing a quick Geekbench, which I did do yesterday, as I will show you right here. History. So this is what I ran yesterday. So you have a single core score of 2,299 and multi-score of 8,285. Which, if you go online and you checked against the other phones, is obviously the fastest Android phone out to date. Now, people out there in the other world, myself included, the iPhone X with the A11 Bionic, their processor is fantastic and will still put up better numbers than the Snapdragons. Just how it is, but for right now, in the Android world, this is king. Or queen, whatever. It is a great fast phone. No stutter, no lag. Of course, being only a day or two old, you would expect it not to have that. But anyway, there's been nothing that shows signs of it going to have a problem, especially with 6 gigabytes of RAM, the upgraded processor. It really is going to fly. I haven't taken too many of photos for actual photo comparison samples, but what I have done is I will show you a little bit about my AR emoji here. So I did one, my girlfriend did one. I'm trying to look down and get the camera at the same time. A little challenging here. But basically, if you can see it, it does show a likeness, but it doesn't do the mouth as good as, already just using it real quick, it doesn't do the mouth as good as Apple's Animoji. Probably has a lot to do with the face tracking features, but it just isn't there yet. I guess I took a picture. Go ahead and delete that. See, I'll show you real quick. So these are some of the GIFs that it makes. The guy was from my girlfriend. So it makes all these GIFs so you can preload, you can pre-send, or whatever. See, if I scroll through, get to mine. You know, they're fine, they're cool, they're neat. Like I said, I don't think it performs as well as Animoji does, but again, doesn't have as much of the face tracking software and hardware on the top. What I do want to try to show you though is I want to show you the actual, you can see the aperture change when you actually press the button. So to do that, you got to go to, not your front, you got to go to your normal camera, go to Pro mode. There's going to be a little itty bitty toggle. So I'm trying to zoom in. You can definitely see it. It opens and closes, which is crazy. So that's what's obviously going to help you get much better photos in low light, because it is automatically going to change. As far as that, the actual user experience is very reminiscent of Samsung Galaxy S8, S8 Plus, and similar to the Note 8, you know, Android 8 has obviously brought in a lot of different features, but you still have all the apps, Samsung Pay, S Health, your sidebar, edge screen menu here. All that stuff is still there. If you use it, you can always disable it if you don't need it. Samsung is one of the companies that you pretty much load in all the features you can get and pick and choose which ones you want. So for right now, see, I haven't done much testing otherwise. You know, this phone is right now obviously by far the best contender for being the best Android phone to date. But again, as every year goes by, better and better technology happens and things change. So comparing this to the S8, obviously it's going to be better. Comparing this to the Pixel 2, sure, it's going to be faster. It has the new processor. And obviously comparing the camera, I have seen some videos saying that, you know, that, oh, the iPhone 10 camera is still blowing it out of the water. And unfortunately, even me being an iPhone 10 user myself, the camera in a lot of situations on this phone will be better. It's just going to be how it is. Yes, there's always going to be user preference. Samsung photos tend to be more saturated, and that's fine depending on what you like. But in low light, things of that nature, this is just going to do a better job. And Apple fans, Samsung fans, Android fans just have to understand that's the nature of the beast. And in October, November, when Apple does their next phone, I'm sure that camera's going to be better than the 10. And that camera's probably going to be better than here, the S9 Plus. That's just how tech works. But anyway, this was my first look at the S9 Plus. We are going to be doing a lot more videos with it. We're going to be doing camera comparisons with the Samsung S9 Plus and the iPhone 10. We can do it with the Huawei Mate 10 Pro. So we're going to do a lot more content. This was just going to be my first look, putting the case on it, checking it out. You know, Samsung phones, especially of recently, they have gotten so much more, I guess, good to look at. Similar to what you see and feel with an Apple device. It feels heavy, it feels quality. You know, having the dual pieces of glass really makes it be a nice touch. This does have the aluminum sides, where iPhone now does the stainless steel, so the sides might get scratched up a little easier, whatever. But overall, this is obviously going to be a really killer device, and I look forward to be able to use it. I look forward to be able to dig in with some new content with it. So we will get back with that in another video. So anyway, again, I am Jared from TechWorks. If you haven't liked or subscribed to my channel yet, please do so down below. It does help. We are growing steadily, which is awesome. Everyone who continues to watch, thank you. And I do hope to make something of this in the future. So anyway, please don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe on this video. And of course, if you have anything you want to talk about, leave it in the comments. We'll get a conversation going. We'll talk about tech, one of my favorite pastimes, and we'll go from there. So anyway, I will see you in the next video.